Hey y'all! The new Don Toliver record is finally out after almost 2 years, and here's what I think about it. As always, please remember that opinions can change over time, especially with music. These are really just my first impressions after a few listens, rather than a full review or anything. Also, of course, this is all my opinion. Don Toliver has never really been my favorite music artist or anything, but he has made a lot of hit songs that have caught my attention over the years. No Idea was his first big hit, I would say, and it's certainly the one that really caught my eye, even before I really got into music as a whole. His first big project, Heaven or Hell, was kind of on the same level with a lot of great pop rap tracks. After his breakout project, Don continued to drop albums like Life of a Don and Lovesick, but I honestly just didn't enjoy these records. In the way that Heaven or Hell sounded unique, his next two projects just didn't feel the same way to me. It felt like he was taking heavy influence from Travis Scott, but clearly couldn't rap as well as him, so he was kind of singing over these beats instead. They aren't terrible projects, but just certainly nothing too unique and not for me. Hearthstone Psycho did change this a little bit, and I would say it's a huge step up for the rapper. Instead of going back to that melodic trap sound that got him popular, Don elevated himself and his sound, stepping in a more of a rage/rock rap direction. The whole album's theming took on this biker punk aesthetic, and I think it did a really great job at matching the music of that album. My issue with Hearthstone Psycho is that Don didn't fully commit to this new sound, and as the album went on, it regressed more and more back into what he had done before. This left the album feeling like a bit of a half measure to me. While I do certainly think it's a pretty good album, it's not great or anything. It's clear to me that Don still has more work to put in to truly find his own unique sound and differentiate himself from his peers. With Octane now finally out, I gotta say that he's now a lot closer to achieving that goal. The first song on the record is called E85, and it's a really strong start to the album. While I don't think it's the best track in any way, it does a great job at letting us know a few things about this album, mainly the soundscape. To me, this sounds like a mix of the unique production and heavy sampling found in Hearthstone Psycho and the more melodic trap from early in his career. While it may not be anything too complex lyrically or even being very catchy, frankly, it makes a good impression, which all good album intros do. Body is next up and a great follow-up to the intro. Body is probably my favorite song on the album as it has an incredibly infectious hook and really great use of sampling from Justin Timberlake's Rock Your Body. Once again, lyrically, this song has almost nothing of note to say. It's actually the lack of lyrics to me that reveal the intentions behind this record and album. Body has 3 choruses, 1 verse, and 1 bridge, meaning that the song is heavily swayed towards the chorus, similar to many hit pop songs. To me, the difference here is that while many hit pop songs are trying to get stuck in your head, Octane, and specifically Body, is trying to build a sound and carry that throughout the entire project. Don Toliver's voice, chorus, and infectious flows are all tools on this album to supplement the dark and atmospheric sound that he creates. Rendezvous is another collab between Don Toliver and Yeat, and I'd say it's a fine one. Like with the last one, this song perfectly fits the sound of the album, although I don't think it's as memorable. Don is known for making more trap-centric pop rap songs, and I think this is one of his better attempts to kind of fit that sound onto the record, but I think it does sound decently generic still. Yeat takes up the majority of the song, yet I still would have liked more from him. Don usually has his features go into his world and sing, like with Yeat here or his frequent Travis collabs. I just don't think artists like Yeat or Travis are talented singers. They're rappers for a reason, and I think it's a curation mistake on Don's part to have rappers try and sing beside him. I really would have liked a good Yeat verse from this record, as this song is literally just a chorus and post-chorus by the two artists. A really nice rapping verse from Yeat could have done wonders for this song. Secondhand is the longest song on the album at almost 4 minutes. Thankfully, it's another one of the best songs on the record. Once again, the sound of this record perfectly utilized chopped vocals to add to the production. Don's singing and verse perfectly matches this production as well, which can sometimes be an issue for him. A lot of the time with Don Toliver songs, he's rapping over trap beats, and I just wish he would rap. With this song, that was never a concern. The feature verse by Rima makes the entire song for me, with the longest verse on the album thus far and maybe one of the best features on the entire album. Rima has a really great flow and catchy vocals, as well as some lyrical content. It's nothing amazing by any means, but this is the first lyrical showcase on the album thus far, so it stands out. He tells the story of a girl he loves too much, begging her not to let him down and break his heart, which matches the "You're the all I ever wanted in my life" production. Unfortunately, Octane goes from one of the best tracks on the album to one of the worst. I don't find Tiramisu to be a bad song. In fact, I would say that I do like it. I just don't find anything special about this song, nor do I think it fits within the sound of this album. To me, this sounds like a song that could be found off of Lovesick, as it fits not only sonically but lyrically within that album. Don tends to have his best tracks at the start of his projects and then slowly revert to more generic stuff as it goes on, and songs like this show that he at least wanted to do that again here. Thankfully, ATM picks things back up and is another great song for this project. I love the production for this song with a really catchy beat that sounds like ATM buttons, maybe that's why it's called ATM. The intro and outro of the song continue this album's trend of vocal sampling, and Don even raps a little bit on the song, although I do wish he could have done so a bit longer. Long Way to Calabasas has been a favorite for many in the few days after release, and I can certainly see why. This song has fantastic production with an intro that sounds almost like an old X song with the Shiloh Dynasty sample. At only 1 minute and 40 seconds, this is more of an interlude for the album, yet Don still decided to put vocals on it anyways. In my personal opinion, I don't think Don has the vocal chops to be able to tackle production like this alone, with a lot of singing on this record sounding almost strained. I would have preferred this to be instrumental only, honestly, but still a pretty decent song for the record and certainly fits the soundscape. Rosary is another song that I don't love on this album, although I do think it does a much better job of actually fitting the sound of this project than Tiramisu does. The production sounds more unique than many other songs in Don's catalog, although maybe doesn't live up to the best of this record. Lyrically, this is a typical love song, which is nothing too special for Don. Travis is featured on this song, although he's once again placed on a song that doesn't fit him. Hot take, but Travis features on Don albums are just almost never good, and while I would say this is one of the better features from him, I still would want to see Travis rap more and on more interesting production. All the Signs is the perfect contrast to Rosary in my opinion, as it does largely the same thing, just much better. This song perfectly fits the soundscape of this album with much more unique production and vocal sampling. The beat also fits the darker tone of the album much better, and thus Don is able to rap and sing a lot better, despite being lyrically a love song. Tizo Touchdown is also the perfect type of feature for this song, as unlike Travis, he is able to sing and fit the track while also rapping a bit and bringing a lot more energy to this song. Callback is more in the middle range of tracks for the record, but that doesn't mean I think it's bad. This song does a great job at fitting in within Octane's dark soundscape, as well as bringing the energy back up after the two love tracks, despite maybe being able to call this a love song as well. The chorus is a bit repetitive, but catchy enough. I don't think this song does a good job at standing out from the rest of the tracks, in a bad way and a good way. It doesn't feel like an outlier, but doesn't reach the heights of other songs. Tuition is another fantastic song for the record, and I think a great example for how to properly switch up the sound in the middle of an album. This song kind of gives me an ethereal vibe to it with a really hazy production and great catchy singing by Dawn. Despite all that, it still fits in within the unique production of the album, especially towards the end of the song. My only gripe with this song is surprisingly the rapping, which I don't think fits the song entirely. I think this would be a great relaxing song, but the rapping sections may take people out of the moment a little bit. K9 is the next track and is among the middle range of tracks again for me. It has a pretty great feature verse by Sababy, who sounds a lot like Young Thug to me. This is exactly the kind of rap feature that I would want from someone like Travis or Yeat, but I would like to have more interesting production. Excavator is another great example of Don making his usual style of music while also making it fit on this album. The first half of the song is nothing too special, with a decently catchy chorus and short little verse. A little over halfway through the song, there's a beat switch that completely switches the tone of the song to something much more fitting within this album, including an entire rap verse by Don. By directly contrasting the first and second half of the song, Don is able to get a really catchy pop song as well as an impactful rap verse in the same song, perfectly fitting in with his goals of creating pop hits and making them fit within the album. Gemstone is another unique track for the album, as it sounds like Don's attempt at making triumphant rage type music for this project. I think it certainly works and is a good song, but I don't think it's nearly as catchy as other songs on this project or even rage songs in general. Opposite is another pretty standard track for the album. I really like the beat in the background, although this song is so chorus heavy that I find myself wishing there was longer verses on here. I think the reliance on choruses in the song like Body really worked because not only was that song a lot catchier, but it was a lot more unique and earlier in the project. Being towards the end, I wish Opposite could have impressed more rather than falling into a bit of a rhythm. DMU is one of the better tracks on the album for me, with a really catchy chorus, some cool verses, and some cool vocal sampling for the intro and outro. This song really brings the energy down again, but like a song like Tuition, it's in a good way. I will say though, this song has a few standout lyrics like I'll pick you up from the school or I'll take you to that island, which I'm not exactly sure the context behind. Still a really cool song though. Pleasure's Mine is another really cool track with interesting production. Once again, the song is a lot slower, clearly winding down the album for the outro. Despite that, I still think it fits in great with the rest of the tracks. Sweet Home is the final track, and I think it's pretty decent for an outro. The production sounds perfect for an outro, with it being really catchy and even including some cool guitar riffs. I just personally don't like the chorus of this song at all. It just sounds kind of annoying to me. Maybe it'll be something that I grow on, but with the amount that it's repeated, it may take me a little bit of time. Besides that, this song does have some longer verses from Don, which is a rarity for this project, so I'm glad that was able to happen on the outro. I think that Octane proves that Don is able to pick one sound and stick with it for most of a project. On Hearthstone Psycho, he kind of reverted back to his melodic songs from previous albums, kind of making that album feel a bit disjointed. This album feels way more cohesive with one sound, making it his most consistent project yet. I still think this album does have some consistency issues though. Songs like Tiramisu and Rosary stick out as being more generic melodic trap songs. Many of the songs on the track list have a hard time keeping up the momentum as well, such as Opposite. To me, what I like about, say, Travis Scott, for example, is that he can not only tackle a bunch of different sounds on his albums, but also sound unique and groundbreaking while doing it. Don is just not fully there yet as an artist, as he's still finding his own sound, but Octane is the closest he's ever been to finding it. I also think that with some beats on this album, Don doesn't really know how to tackle them as well as Travis, for example. There are a ton of times on this album where his voice and style of singing slash rapping fit perfectly, but a lot of other times where he should have tackled the song in a different way, like Long Way to Calabasas. Don needs to be more diverse with his performances because nearly every single song is just singing with a very similar flow. Hopefully, with his next record, he'll learn to just be as creative with his vocals as he is with his beat selection. One last thing I want to touch on is the lyrical content in songwriting. Don is not a gifted songwriter whatsoever, and that's totally fine because that's not the type of music he's trying to make. At the end of the day, he's trying to make hits and make big albums, and he mostly achieves that. I just think that this album relies a bit too heavily on each song's chorus. On some songs like Body, I really think it works because the sound is so unique there, but many of the other songs are just 3 choruses and maybe a bridge and a short verse. If you don't like the chorus, then you're gonna leave feeling like the song is just repetitive. Again, I hope Don is able to diversify his songwriting a bit more with his next album. Overall, I think Octane is a pretty good album and potentially even Don's best. While it may not reach the same highs as some of his other projects, he did improve in one key area here: consistency. This album takes the smallest dip in quality from beginning to end compared to all his other projects. I do think that this album has its ups and downs, with some generic production and songwriting here and there, but most of the time you're gonna get something that's at least good. I still think Don Toliver has a long way to go as an artist, but this project to me proves that he still has yet to reach his true potential and is improving with every single release. I recommend Octane. Well, y'all, that's my review of Octane. Like I said at the start, this is all my opinion, so if I said anything crazy, that may be why. I'd really appreciate it if you could like, comment, or even subscribe. Besides that, that's all I got for Octane today. I just want to take the rest of the time to talk about me and my channel. Okay, so this video took forever to make. The album obviously came out Thursday night, Friday morning, right? And I'm recording this on Tuesday. I hope to get it out on Wednesday. So I did not plan for it to take this long. So what happened was I released my Hightail review, I don't know, Sunday, like the Sunday before this album came out. And on Wednesday that week, I started writing my Destiny 2 Renegades like endgame review, and I finished it. So that is not going to get canceled anymore. But I was like, okay, I'm gonna make this video like midway through the week, and then I'm gonna do the Octane review like midway into next week, and that'll be good. So I finished my review for Renegades on Wednesday night, and I was like, hey, wait a minute, Octane is literally coming out tomorrow. So I can't really record this video, I just need to wait for that. So that's exactly what I do, right? I listened to Octane, start making this, and then it turns out that I actually had an exam today, Tuesday. So I had to start studying for that on Friday. So, okay, I'm gonna do that, you know, whatever. I also have a ton of homework. Friday's one of my homework days. And I work Saturday and Monday, but like, okay, hopefully like Sunday I can get this done, you know, and like work at it like after work. But I'm taking an online class. It's like a alcohol, like liquor class. I don't know. It's some random class I'm taking for credits. But it's like one of those classes where it's like everything is due in clumps, and it's like 4 due dates. And the first one was, well, tomorrow, I guess, Wednesday. So I'm like, oh crap, I have to get working on this. It's 4 quizzes, a project, and exam. So Friday, I do a bunch of homework and I listen to this album again and I start studying. Saturday, I go to work, I do more homework and I study. Sunday, more homework, more studying, and I can start working on this a little bit. Monday, you know, study, whatever. What I'm trying to say is I was so busy with school stuff that I couldn't work on this review. So that's what happened. My goal is to, like, this year, release 1 video a week, and I only released 3 videos in January, so I guess I failed that already, but, you know, not really, because, I mean, it's just a few days after, but, well, you know, whatever. But yeah, like, that sucks. So yeah, also, like, to be honest, I'm not the biggest Don Toliver fan, so every time he releases a new album, I will listen to it at midnight. I've been doing that since Life of a Don, but I don't listen to his music, you know, like, really beyond that. Like, I, you know, listen to it for a little bit after the album drops, and then that's it. So, like, yeah, you know, I just wasn't too inspired to make this video. And, like, with doing this with the A$AP Rocky, which I do like him, and then this, it's like, I don't know if I want to make music content for YouTube. Because, like, with TikTok, when I'm making my, like, reviews for that, I usually have to cut out so much stuff. I'm like, this is just a worse review. But, like, I don't think this is a bad script. I did mess up like 100 fucking times while recording this, and I just want this video to be done, so I didn't re-record as much as I usually do. But like, you know, I think this is a good script, but it's like, my TikTok script is probably just as good, so whatever. What I'm trying to say is, I will still be listening to the J. Cole album at midnight. I love J. Cole. I like him way more than Don Toliver. Also, by the way, apparently the Joji album is coming out that same day. I thought it was the 13th. That's weird, but whatever. Like, yeah, I won't be reviewing the J. Cole probably on this YouTube channel. Maybe on TikTok, but probably not in here. My next video will be the Destiny 2 Renegades endgame review. The script is done. I already have all the footage recorded. I didn't record like this, but I got the gameplay. So yeah, you know, this was kind of just an experiment for me to see if I like it, like making music content. I do, especially on TikTok for sure, but unless it's like an artist I like love, like Kanye, Kendrick, Travis, like Playboi Carti, I don't think I'm gonna make YouTube videos for now, especially when I have 6 entire scripts like just completed and saved up, you know. So yeah, that's all I have to say. I just want to say those 2 things. Like, I'm sorry this took so long, you guys. I'm working through this as best as I can. So yeah, thanks for, you know, suffering through this video. I hope you can still understand what I'm trying to say, even though I messed up a few times. But yeah, thanks you guys for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will see you next time. Bye!